Ma'am, I'm going to ask you one last time. Take your hands off the llama and step away from the saddle. Now, that's not a line you'd expect to hear on a peaceful Saturday morning in rural Arizona. But when your neighbor is someone like Linda Grayson, reality tends to twist, flip, and trot off without warning, saddle or no saddle. The saddle in question wasn't just any old piece of leather. It belonged to the county's mounted patrol unit, and it was mine. My name's Jake Tanner, a patrol officer with the sheriff's department, and that saddle was worth more than most people's first beat-up truck. To Linda, though, it wasn't law enforcement gear, it was a rustic accent for her cowboy-themed wine night. In her bizarre logic, swiping it was fine as long as it looked good perched on a ceramic llama. It all kicked off earlier that week. I'd finally snagged a weekend off from patrol duty and spent the morning brushing down my gelding, Rusty, after a sunrise ride along the ridge. The sky glowed that soft pink that makes you think, just for a second, that the world might not be a total mess. I was in a good mood, humming a little, taking my time cleaning the saddle, proud that the leather still shone after a year of hard use. I set it on my fence rail to air out in the sun. That saddle wasn't just equipment, it was a partner. Every nick told a story, chasing down suspects, riding in community parades, hauling folks out of backcountry jams. Then Linda showed up. She came stomping down the gravel road in those goofy lime green flip-flops and oversized sunglasses that screamed discount diva. Linda Grayson had been a neighborhood nuisance since the HOA board got rolling last year. She'd once threatened to fine a guy for too many leaves on his oak tree and reported a retired vet for flying his flag an inch too high. Today, though, she zeroed in on me, or rather my saddle. She strutted up to my fence, hands on hips, and snapped, "You can't leave junk like this lying around. This is a neighborhood, not a stable." I looked up from oiling a bridle. "Morning, Linda." She didn't like that. She jabbed a neon-painted nail at the saddle. "Breaks HOA VY Sewell Standard Rule 4.1, no loose gear cluttering up the place, especially horse stuff." I stood up slow, not mad yet, just knowing her game. "It's not clutter. I just cleaned it. It's drying. Give it 10 minutes. She snorted. "I don't care if it's drying under a halo. Move it." Wiping my hands on a rag, I stepped closer. "That's a county-issued patrol saddle, Linda. It's my job. Just letting the oil set before I put it away." She rolled her eyes. "You end your cowboy act. That thing's an eyesore and drags down the whole street's VYB." That's when I laid it out plain. "Linda, I'm not kidding. That saddle's county property. Mess with it and it's a felony, not some HO slap on the wrist." Her eyes squinted like she was decoding a riddle she didn't plan to solve. "Felony?" she echoed, tasting the word. Then she laughed. "You're so over the top." I didn't argue further, just nodded once, conversation done, and led Rusty into the barn. I locked up, drove into town for supplies, and was back in under an hour. The saddle? Gone. At first I figured it slid off the rail, but it wasn't in the dirt, on the porch, or in the barn. Then I saw Ida Lone Sequin, one of those cheap ones Linda loved gluing to everything from mailboxes to her tacky garden gnomes, sitting right where the saddle had been. I'm no hothead, but I've logged enough patrol hours to spot a crime when it's winking at me. This was theft. I marched over to Linda's place. Her house looked like a wannabe saloon, fake wagon wheels propped against stucco, cacti and sparkly pots. Through her giant front window, there it was. My saddle slung over a gaudy ceramic llama like it was posing for a magazine shoot. She'd even tossed a blanket over it for flair. I knocked. She opened the door, wine glass in hand, not a shred of guilt. "Can I help you? You know why I'm here." She sipped. "No idea." "My saddle. The one from my fence." "Oh, that?" "It was just sitting there." I thought it was trash. I kept my tone level. "Linda, you stole government property. That's a federal crime." She smirked, almost pitying. "Chill out, Jake. It's just a saddle. What's the big deal?" I stared, then pulled out my phone and dialed. "Lieutenant Hayes here," the voice answered. "Hey, LT, it's Tanner. Got a problem? Someone nabbed patrol gear from my place." "Yeah, Linda Grayson. It's in her levying room on a llama." A pause, then a bark of laughter. "Tell me she didn't." "She did." Another pause. "I'll handle it. Hang tight." I hung up. Linda raised an eyebrow. "You're blowing this out of proportion." I gave her a tight smile. "No, Linda, you just stepped in it big time. The next morning started, two calm birds chirping like they knew something was brewing. I was sipping coffee on my porch when Deputy Tara texted me. "You see this?" with a link to the HOA's Facebook group. I clicked. There was my saddle gleaming on that ridiculous llama, captioned by Linda, "Western Flair." Found this dusty relic lying around, spruced it up, gave it a home. The HOA goals the upcycle magic. My jaw clenched. She didn't just take it brag like it was a flea market find. The comments were chaos. Some HOA cronies cheered her, "VY Shaun," but others tore in. "Did you ask whose it was?" one guy wrote. "That's patrol gear," a woman added, posting a screenshot from our unit's page. Eamon Rusty, saddle front and center, sheriff's logo clear as day. Then the memes hit. Someone photoshopped Linda riding the llama off a cliff. Another captioned her in boots, "Sheriff of Nonsense Town." She went from HA dictator to internet punchline overnight. I let it stew, not because I was lazy but because I needed this airtight. That saddle was department tagged, and Linda had confessed online. Lieutenant Hayes called. "We're doing this right. Stay off her property. Uniforms will handle it." Deputy Sam and Ellie rolled up that afternoon, a marked car, casual clothes, body cams on. Linda answered the door like a TV star, wine in hand, hair teased to the heavens. "Officers." "What a treat," she cooed. Sam played it smooth. "Just to check in. Heard some county gear might have wandered over here." "Seen anything?" Linda giggled. "Oh, that old thing? I found it abandoned, polished it up." "Can you believe someone left it out?" Ellie raised an eyebrow. "You didn't check who it belonged to?" Linda shrugged. "It didn't have a name tag. Except it did." She just sucked at lying. Sam pressed. "Funny, patrol saddles have serial numbers under the flap." "Mind if we see it?" Linda faltered. I might have glued stuff on it. Painted it, maybe." "You won't find your number." "Bingo." She'd admitted to tampering. The deputies smiled, thanked her, and left. Across the road, Sam told me she thinks she's bulletproof. But we've got intent, possession, and a confession on tape. By morning, the HOA group was a wildfire. Photos of Linda with the deputy surfaced, alongside legal snippets about stealing government property. Someone posted our fundraiser video, zoomed in on my saddle. J. Tanner, mounted patrol, stitched plain as day. Linda tried a comeback post, setting the record straight. I thought it was junk, just adding charm. Too late. Her cred was toast. Neighbors dug up every petty fine she'd ever issued. A petition to boot her from the HOA board hit 200 signatures by dusk. I stayed quiet. The truth was doing the work. Linda didn't quit, though. She stuffed flyers in mailboxes, being taped rants about unsightly equipment and HOA rules, a jab at me without saying my name. Then she announced Western Night, a block party with barbecue, dancing, and repurposed frontier art. Guess what the star was? Saturday hit scorching hot. Linda's driveway overflowed with hay bales, a band, and that Lamamy saddle now glittered up with a cactus garland. I watched from my porch as neighbors milled around, some nodding my way, others snapping pics of the art. Linda spotted me, strutted over, wine sloshing. "Enjoying the party, Officer Tanner? Never seen a llama under arrest before," I said. "You're still obsessed," she snapped. "It's a misunderstanding. You're showcasing stolen gear, Linda." "That's not a misunderstanding." Then a cruiser rolled up, lights off but loud in presence. Deputy Bill Grizzled, no nonsense, stepped out with Hayes. Linda's smirk wobbled. Hayes in jeans but badged up, zeroed in on the llama. "Explain why a patrol saddle's on that thing," he said. "It's art," she squeaked. "That's county property," Bill growled. "You took it, altered it." "I thought it was trash." Hayes cut in. "You removed the ID flap. That's tampering." Linda paled. The crowd froze, band silent, ribs mid-bite. Hayes radioed, "Unit 19, recovered stolen gear. CIVY Leon coming for questioning." "You're arresting me at my party?" Linda shrieked. "Not yet," Hayes said. "But you're coming." She glared at me. "You set me up." "No, I said you did that yourself." They escorted her off, not cuffed, but firm. The party died fast. I unstrapped my saddle, brushing off glitter. Hayes asked, "Press charges." "Let's see what the DA says," I replied. "But yeah, she went too far." "Good," he said. This was about rules, not just a saddle. The next day, Linda's reign unraveled. No more barking orders, no more posts. The HOA ousted her in a landslide vote. I cleaned my saddle that night, erasing her mark. Neighbors brought pie, thanks, and relief. A week later, I hosted a cookout reel, simple, no glitter. Rusty stood proud, saddle gleaming. Linda's house went dark, up for sale, untouchable after her glitter bandit fame. A month later, I rode in a parade, saddleback where it belonged. Linda watched from her car, quiet, small. She tried to take more than leather. She'd failed. I nodded as I passed. Wrong fence, Linda. The right side rides taller.